Hello guys, my name is Kane, and today I'm going to be giving you a book review on Who Was William Shakespeare. So just like a heads up on y'all, this is the first book of Who Were the Creatives, and I'm really excited to read this because it has like Who Was Jeff Kinney, which is the famous author of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, No Brainer, which is what I'm reading right now, and y'all should check that out later because I'm almost finished. And my dad also got me a new book set, and it's like What Was American History, and it has a lot of stuff from like who was Abraham Lincoln, or what were the Twin Towers, and just a lot of stuff. So I'm really intrigued on reading Who Were the Creatives and what was American history, what is and who is American history. That didn't really sound good, but you get the point for like who is Abraham Lincoln with mixed in with like what were the Twin Towers. So really excited to read this because I think these two book sets are different than the others, like What is Science and Technology, but it just included like Nikola Tesla, the Wright brothers, but just for some reason I have a good feeling about these next two book like Who Was What Was book sets. So I hope you guys like these book reviews. I'm gonna keep on putting more out, keep on putting more reading, and I also got some other books like the No Brainer, What Was World War II History, and just a lot of stuff. So I hope y'all are intrigued on what I'm doing with these books, and let's get into the book review. So even though if you don't know who was William Shakespeare, you probably heard his name like a few times in your life. I'm pretty sure I did, but I didn't know a lot about him. The only thing I knew about him was he was an actor and a theater owner. And well, William Shakespeare, this was a long, long time ago. So in 1564, William Shakespeare was born, but because there's not a lot of records kept in the 1500s or the 1600s, we don't know a lot about him, so we don't know the exact day. Like it could be ranging from January 1st to December 31st. So not many records were kept, so there's not going to be a lot of exact dates in this book. So William Shakespeare was a typical 1500 family, and he was in London at that time. And if you don't know, but I did a little researching, and my dad also kind of helped me research, and he told me that he actually invented a few words. Like it doesn't include it in this book, but I just thought that would be a fun little fact for you. So the words he invented are like theater or film, and just a lot of words like theater and well film. So basically, though he invented, I think, some other words, but I just have to dig in more deep for me to find them in like Wikipedia or Google or Safari. So, and his family was a typical 1500, 1600 family. Not everybody was rich. Well, not even everybody was rich these days, but people they don't have like $500,000. They don't have like $300,000. They don't have $100,000. They have like not that much money, like ranging from 100, which is actually a lot, but at that time. But a lot of people were poor, and they kind of just sold all their belongings, like soap, even clothes, which I wouldn't want to wear already worn clothes, but that's what people had to do at that time to earn clothes. So, and actually these days, most theaters, most plays, and most acts are based on William Shakespeare's style, which is like, oh, and well, I'm not a good actor myself, but well, a lot of acts, theaters, and plays are based on him, which is like, let's take a example from like A Midsummer Night's Dream. Like it didn't really explain a lot about here, but there's a certain style, you can look it up. It didn't really talk about it in this book, but it kind of inferred that it was trying to explain about in this book. So at that time, people believed Earth was the center of the galaxy. People believed Earth was the center of the solar system, but actually it's not. William Shakespeare didn't uncover that. Galileo and a few other scientists, and you should check out that book review, Who Was Galileo, after Who Was William Shakespeare. So William Shakespeare had a really hard life. Most people didn't really like him because, he only had like 2 or 3 fans when he started plays, acts, theaters, and stuff like that. But after, he was like almost the most famous person in London. So I guess you shouldn't give up on your dreams. So William Shakespeare didn't give up on his dreams. He was what is to be said the greatest playwright of all time, and that's a pretty big responsibility you have to have because, well, he died and he doesn't keep that responsibility, but in like history, not the present of the greatest playwright of the universe right now, just at that time you get the point. So he was a very quiet person, and William Shakespeare, well, in general, he was a quiet person, but when he was on an acts and plays, he wasn't an introvert, he was an extrovert, and an extrovert is like someone who talks a lot, like blah, 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 and never finishes every time he talks, he says like a paragraph, and then someone else talks, and then it's like a turn. But an introvert, he or she doesn't really talk a lot. So now you get what is an introvert and extrovert. So William Shakespeare was mostly on the introvert side, but when he was he was acting and playwriting, he was usually on the extrovert side. So in 1582, he got married again. Not a lot of records were kept in the 1500s, so we don't know like January 1st, December 31st, or anything, but in 1583, they had their first baby, Suzanne, and, now I'm gonna be telling you about the plays. So, in 1590, they had the 2 Gentlemen of Venice. In 1591, they had the Taming of Shrew. And in 1595, the most famous one, Romeo and Juliet, or I don't know the full title, but it says on the timeline, and I'll show you later. Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night, and that's in 1595. 1596, 97, The Merchant of Venice. 1597, 1598, The Merry Wives of Windsor. 1600, 1601, Hamlet. 1605, 1606, King Lear. And it's just, he did a lot of plays and a lot of famous ones. As you can see, William Shakespeare he was a really thinkative guy, and I don't even know if that's a real word, but he just liked to think a lot, just like Albert Einstein. And you should also check out that book review if you're going to check out Galileo. So he wrote a lot of plays, and, he was really famous at that time, as I already mentioned, but most of this book also talks about London, let's see right here, King Elizabeth. It talked about the Black Death. A horse, my kingdom for a horse. And like the Spanish Armada, or however you pronounce it. See the 2 Gentlemen of Venice. Talks a lot about scripting and, not scripting, kind of. But as you can see, bad actors got thrown by rotten vegetables, hazelnuts, oranges, and a drink called Med. And there's a lot of stuff, Hamlet, Judith, and Susanna. So talked a lot about his story, not just playwriting and acting, and that's what I like about this book, but sometimes it's just a little too much. Like, you got 20 pages about the person on the cover, and then you got 80 pages about London, and these books are usually 100 pages, and as you can see, a big fat 100. So, in 1616, the famous William Shakespeare sadly passes away, and he is a man who remains a mystery to this day. So, now I informed you about who is William Shakespeare. we can go on to the bibliography, Shakespeare for Kids, His Life and Times, Shakespeare the Man, Bard of Avon or something. And so that's Who Was William Shakespeare. I hope you liked my book review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I'll see you later.